now.
Everybody's going to be happy. They're going to feel like entrepreneurs. They're actually able to go out and negotiate their own health insurance.
The Zimmer News Team.
We've got well over a year to do as much as we can for the American people.
And now, introducing your host, Randy Tobler.
27 yards to win it. And the kick is good. Kansas City survives. And they are still in the mix.
Well, that was the game-winning field goal in overtime by Harrison Butker with drama on the line, probably the season on the line, and the Chiefs came through in a come-from-behind fourth quarter overtime victory. So it was good.
They
good
weren't leading until the final play. It was so
wild,
good.
Wasn't it? Interesting game. I mean, it was tightly fought, and well done for them. Glad they're still in the hunt. I'm Randy Tobler. There's Stephanie Bell and John Marsh, Drake Whitman. Stephanie, fresh off of the Thanksgiving Day appearance, and sounds like the parade was a success. I was out of town, unable to make it, but I hear it went very well. Huh?
Yeah, we were out for the Salvation Army Columbia Christmas Parade. There were lots of families there lined up along Broadway, a lot of festive floats and community organizations. A lot of our sister stations, Clear, Y, KCMQ, were all there.
Yeah.
So we were happy to wave and wish people a Merry Christmas. If you missed the photo of Peter with a reindeer headband and Brian Hauswirth in a Santa hat, it's on the Facebook
It's classic.
page.
It's classic. It's good. It's a good one. And lots happened on Friday after we went off the air, the Trump-Mamdani meeting, MTG resigning. We've got a lot of things to talk about there. But the Chiefs are in the hunt. Now, Drake, I have to ask your expertise on this. The other divisional rivals, how are we doing? I mean, is there still much of a hope, 50% hope? Where's the hope for a postseason playoff?
You're not going to find hope with the Missouri Tigers and Kirby Moore.
I don't even want to talk about the Tigers.
I don't either. But, I mean, you have to win out. You can afford maybe one loss. It just can't be a bad loss. You got to play the Texans. That's going to be a hard game. You got the Cowboys coming up for Thanksgiving. That's going to be a really hard game.
On very little rest.
Yeah, on very little rest. You got the Chargers and the Broncos again, and you have, I think, 2 gimme games with the Tennessee Titans and the Raiders. So, I mean, you guys, it's not looking great, but, you know.
I pulled up the line. The line is a little bit better than 50% for the Chiefs making the playoffs. So
okay, well, there you go.
We'll take that.
Yeah, I wondered what the line was. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Somewhere 50-ish%, maybe a little bit north of that. But they came roaring back there at the end of the game.
It was a great game.
Did you see where the Colts were whining that they got called for and I looked at the play over and over again where some big guy, I don't know whether he's probably a lineman, tackled Mahomes when Mahomes was trying to run right as he was passing. He passed, but I mean, he passed when he was in the arms of the guy. The guy in his forward momentum ends up on top of Mahomes. I guess they called a penalty on that.
He squashed him.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Yeah, that was pretty
bad. A weak call. Let's be honest about it.
Even as a Chiefs,
you're not a Chiefs fan.
The Chiefs hater. Let me finish. The in-house Chiefs hater. I mean, that was terrible. I mean, he just got on top and started belly flopping on him. He was trying to do some damage.
Oh, come on. That was his forward momentum. You're a big guy. You don't just stop a moving object that weighs 300 pounds.
Yeah, but when you get back up and start bouncing on him,
he didn't bounce. I'm going to twinkle toes there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't care if you're Mahomes or not. Like you said, 300-pound lineman land on top of you. That'll knock the wind out of your butt good.
Randy, let's put the pads on you. Let's see if you getting tackled by a 300-pound man.
We're all Monday morning padless quarterbacks, aren't we? Here's a little bit from that meeting on Friday. Well, during that Trump-Mamdani meeting, boy, you talk about a bromance, a budding bromance. What other way is to call it?
But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. I will say there's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York.
Did he say there's no difference in party? Did I hear him actually do a Freudian slip there? Did Donald Trump just say there's a uniparty?
But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. I will say there's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York.
Wow.
I think that aligns with where we know Trump is at and where a lot of us were at. That even when Biden was elected, we didn't wish that he was going to do a bad job. We disagreed with this policy, but we still wanted him to do well for our country. And I think Trump has such close ties to New York that he does obviously care deeply about the city. And so him saying, look, I'm going to do anything I can to make sure, the city doesn't fall into ruin under this guy.
Yeah.
I want the city to do well. And in order for it to do well, I'm going to have to figure out how to work with this guy and help him out.
And Trump's a guy who endorsed Andrew Cuomo, the Democrat, and not the Republican, Mr. Sliwa. So, yeah, I think there may be some of that underlying, we're New York guys.
And then there was this, when he shielded Mamdani from having to answer the question in the White House, or in the Oval Office during that meeting. He shielded him from having to answer the tough question about, Zoran, do you really think that Trump is a fascist?
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. That's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Yeah.
And it gives him kind of like a slap on the back, like, oh, come on, bro.
Yeah. Daddy protect. I think I've seen a lot of memes where it was implying that he was like daddy protecting the baby Mamdani, like in swaddling clothes, covering for him.
I mean, what's the age difference there? How old's Mamdani?
34, I think.
Yeah.
Young guy. And there was this meme with that, like I said, him carrying him like he's a little baby. I think it's hilarious. Then you had MTG resigning. Very interesting there. Does that predict an increasing fracture where people who get canceled by Trump say, enough of this? I'm tired of getting canceled by Trump. I'm out of here. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I mean, she's resigning January 5th. Now, on the other hand, she's resigning. Apparently, I have not been able to confirm this, but by a fairly reliable source, was told that this is 3 days after she becomes eligible for lifelong pension.
I have heard that as well. I mean, she's always been kind of charting her own path. I don't think her resignation speaks to anybody else in the movement.
She's a firebrand, isn't she?
Attached to America first in our halls of government. Then, right after the election. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much for all of us. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street.
But I'm out of here.
Trump didn't want Epstein, then Trump wanted Epstein files released. Most people don't want H-1B visas to be expanded. Trump wants that. Chinese college students, Trump's gotten himself into a little trouble there by going against the grain. Foreign entanglements, I thought there were going to be none. I think that MTG is speaking for a large number of the Trump, MAGA, whatever you want to call it, movement, conservative movement that says, wait a minute here. You either with me 120% of the time, or I'm going to primary you, I'm going to cancel you, I'm going to call you a traitor, Marjorie Traitor Greene. That I don't know. That would rub me wrong. I'm a two-way loyalty street guy. How about you, Drake?
I mean, she's flip-flopped on a lot of stuff. I mean, she was originally for releasing Epstein files, then against it when Trump said he was against it, then for it when Trump said he was for it. She is against H-1B visas, which I agree with full-heartedly, but she also is big on letting immigrants come in and do, like, construction. She's bragged about how her construction company's done so well. I don't know. I don't like Marjorie Taylor Greene that much. I like some of her stances, but I also don't like some of her stances. Same with Trump and any other politician. I mean, you shouldn't agree 100% with them.
And well, first of all, let's make this all about me. I'm kind of mad that I met Megyn Kelly and Marjorie Taylor Greene was a special guest, so she's in all my photos. I'm going to try to use AI to, like, zap her out. I'm real mad about
put
that.
Put Hillary's head on.
So
the
you're
picture.
canceling her too.
Trump's
canceling her. You're canceling her.
I don't have time for people who get elected to office and then decide, never mind.
Interesting. You want to talk about some Missourians, maybe?
I don't really like.
Saying.
I really don't like that. Also, though, I would say, like, beyond her tiff with Trump, she's got a big tiff with a lot of the voters. I talked about how when she was speaking from stage, I thought the woman behind me was going to get kicked out because everything she said, she was like, "No, you're a liar." And so I'm thinking, if one person is doing that, like, I mean, I'm sure her inbox, her social media is just flooded with haters. And I think at times she's shown to have a little bit of a thin skin. And I think I can only imagine given that one woman, what she's getting from just regular voters.
Yeah. Well, I think she did one thing that I'm sympathetic with her about. She's had some crazy tinfoil hat conspiracy things too, right? I mean, crazy things in the past. But I think she was arguing for health care reform and that the House Republicans could have been working on policy while the government was shut down and been very strident about policy and health care costs for all Americans, not just the Obamacare recipients. And I think that was a noble.
How many times did we see her online with a MAGA hat during the campaign?
Yeah,
she was all about the MAGA hat.
Yeah, and I think all she was saying here is where's the two-way street? There isn't a two-way street with MAGA, and I guess that works until it doesn't. Back with the Daily DC Rundown after this.
It's Wake
and day we've had so far in this entire process, going back to when we first came into office in January. But there's still some work left to do.
Lots of work to do. Stephanie's got some daily DC rundown for you.
Marco Rubio has been having meetings in Geneva. We heard over, the weekend, Saturday, from several senators that they talked to Rubio. Rubio told them the plan wasn't authored by the U.S. primarily, but essentially was a wish list from the Russians. Rubio has since clarified, issuing an official statement insisting that it was authored by the U.S. Still, a lot of folks, even in the Republican Party, are saying we are capitulating to Russian demands. Part of the deal would limit the size of the Ukrainian military and restrict NATO forces from being stationed in the country. This is apparently a non-starter for Ukrainians. It would essentially prevent some sort of European peacekeeping force. Ukraine would receive certain security guarantees but not be able to join NATO. Despite the comments there by Marco Rubio, Randy, I don't know that we're any closer than we were before the weekend.
Senator Schmidt had something to say about it.
The Ukrainians have been losing for a long time. They've lost 20% of their territory. They have a manpower problem. They have a munitions problem. I think what President Trump is trying to accomplish is maintain Ukrainian sovereignty, make sure there's a pathway to rebuild the country, and also lessen the likelihood that this will ever happen again.
This 28-point peace plan focuses on things highlighted there by Senator Schmidt: security guarantees, long-term economic development, infrastructure protection, freedom of navigation, and political sovereignty. It's a lot to get done.
You can bring a Zelensky to water, but you can't make him give up. That's the problem.
You cannot. We have, we are waiting this week to see what happens with regard to this plan, but at least we have a plan, Randy. All right, we are also hearing more about, the Texas map. We got a big decision out of Texas last week that they threw out the new map. Justice Samuel Alito temporarily reinstated the new map, which potentially would help Republicans pick up 5 seats. This is it's only a temporary reinstatement until the court rules on Texas's emergency appeal. So the redistricting wars are continuing. At the same time, tensions are rising about the upcoming midterms. Trump's approval reached a new low for second term at 41.5% on Friday. The disapproval rating is also at a new high at 56.6%. Lawmakers are saying those races in Virginia and New Jersey should be a wake-up call. We've got a lot of work to do, Randy, before the midterms, I think.
Keep those Chinese students coming in. That rating will really go up.
Also, we've got the Tennessee race. Randy, you played some audio about how the gal who's running there, Afton Bain, hates Nashville last week. That race is becoming ever more important after Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation. The GOP currently has a narrow majority with the numbers are 219 to 213. Now we've got MTG resigning and this special election in Tennessee. That election is set to take place December 2nd, 2025, although Tennessee, like many other states, has early voting. They've been bringing in the big guns there in Tennessee with former Vice President Kamala Harris to try to bolster Afton Bain. Also today, Randy, I think this is an important topic. The official White House Christmas tree is showing up. First Lady Melania Trump will be there at noon Eastern to welcome the official National Christmas Tree, which comes from Michigan, from some folks who are the grand champions of the National Christmas Tree Association National Tree Contest.
There is the daily DC rundown.
The question is your tree up yet? 573-874-9390.
Be back in a few. Stay tuned for more.
I think just local news
Welcome back into Wake Up Missouri after a overtime victory by the Chiefs buoyed their hopes. John Marsh reporting earlier that the line on making the postseason is, a little north of 50%, right, John? That's good to hear.
Yeah, 52, 53, depending on who you look at. Hey, we'll take it.
I'll take it. I mean, this was a critical game. I mean, this was like win it or it's all over kind of a game, right? I mean, I can't imagine that if they lost that game that they'd be in any position. I looked the other teams in the hunt, the leaders in the division and the playoff contenders, they're all like 8-2, 6-3, and or whatever 4. I mean, they're much better records. So that's good to see, and they really fought hard that last fourth quarter. Defense stopped the Colts when they needed to. It was good.
It was really weird because I was preparing to have a speech to you guys about, if they won, oh my gosh, the Chiefs looked great. If they lost, it sucks, but hey, it's a rebuilding season. I didn't think about there was a good chance that it could have been a tie if they didn't get downfield. And
that would have not worked well for them.
No, if they had a tie, they would have had to win out for the season anyways. Now they can afford one loss and still possibly make the playoffs.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so again, we were at the Christmas parade in Columbia, so I was listening online on the radio as much as I could to our sister station KCMQ, and they were saying when we went into overtime that the new overtime rules, which were the playoff rules, were in effect, but they were talking about how they've changed. So tell me about that.
So they're not even the playoff rules because I think it goes to multiple overtimes if you tie in overtime. But anyways, what ends up happening is you can kick or receive before. If you receive the ball, if you went and scored, game's over. You don't have a chance to rebut.
Both teams get one possession. So you flip the coin to see who gets it. Both teams get one possession, and it's like sudden death. First person to score wins.
No.
Right?
So
no.
Each team has the opportunity to score.
Okay.
And if you both score and end up tying, it's a tie. The Cowboys and the Packers both tied early in the season. It's something that we don't see often, but before it was just sudden death. If you got the ball, you had one drive to either win it or you tie.
I think you should have to play to the death. I don't think ties should be allowed.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the way, yeah. I mean, sure, it's sudden death, and it's overtime. Play till somebody wins.
Exactly.
College football does that, and I think they do that very well. Before they were a little bit on the other end of the spectrum where it ends up with a 35-35 game and it ends up in 80 points.
What's the rationale for allowing them to tie? Is it like TV schedule, like let's get on with it, or like why?
I mean,
what's the change for?
I think it's mostly just tradition. Whenever these teams, I mean, they didn't go back and forth. The time with TV also has an effect, but it's not like people back in the day before the Super Bowl era, they weren't really counting wins and losses as heavily. And the ties were just kind of thrown in there. It's just a tie. But now it's become a lot more competitive. These teams are, fighting for a playoff spot every week. So it's become a lot more important.
Yeah, and the one thing they wrote into the rules on the overtime was the only thing that is, I guess, technically sudden death would be a pick six on that first possession. And then if the defense...
Okay. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they win.
That's tantamount to a possession for the other side. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
Well, how's the tree trimming going? I saw you have a picture you were sharing with the trees up. Yeah.
My tree is up.
Good for you.
I don't love putting it up before Thanksgiving. It's kind of like it breaks my soul a little bit. But I don't host Thanksgiving in my house, first of all. So it would bother me if I was hosting Thanksgiving and the whole place was decorated like Christmas. I think that would bother me. And then I also am going out of town next weekend. So, and also Thanksgiving's so late this year.
It is.
So I'm like, we don't have any other options.
Sandy says her artificial one downstairs is up. The real one for the living room is not up. It's in a bucket on the porch. Got to keep that tree wet. We were going to put it up, but then we're going to go to Shannon's for Thanksgiving. I was afraid it might suck up all the water and then dry out, so we're not going to do that yet. Oh, Sandy. Oh, it makes me tired just looking at it. 35 people coming for Thanksgiving. What's the largest Thanksgiving you've ever been a part of that someone had to host?
My mother-in-law is the oldest of 13.
Oh,
so
man, that's
I've
got to
been
be
to some pretty
what,
big
like
ones.
60 people then?
Yeah,
with
and
families?
actually one year we were there and like one of our friends showed up, like somebody that we knew from town, and his family was in a business that somebody had to be there. And so his family went to do Thanksgiving. He was kind of like the designated survivor for the business. He shows up and we were like, "What are you doing here?" "Well, your grandma invited me." And it was like, well, with 100 people, like anybody could walk in the door and we'd be like, "You're totally welcome. The more the merrier."
Are we related to you?
Yeah, total. Well, I mean, in Jefferson City, there's always a chance, I think, that they're related. But as far as I know, unrelated.
Yeah. Those amount to family reunions, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Much, yeah.
So did they supplant the family reunion, or does your family have those in addition?
They have that as well.
Wow. It's huge.
We're talking about people coming into random Thanksgivings. How many like Thanksgiving crashers are there that I don't know about? Is this a fun thing that I can do?
Sounds like a movie theme, right? Instead of wedding, what is it? Wedding crashers?
Yeah, wedding crashers.
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say, you don't really need family reunions with that many people because you're doing like 2 to 3 weddings a year, and now like probably 5 to 7 baby showers a year. So
Plenty of time to get together. So our pastor asked yesterday, he was doing a thing on, the thing was on God's command to shout with joy and come into the presence of Jesus and sort of what we're commanded to do. It's part of a thanks series and giving thanks and doing it as community. And he asked, it was a little audience participation. So with us sitting out in the pews, he said, what are the things you do most at Thanksgiving? And of course, one person raised their hand and said, we eat turkey. We eat a lot of turkey. Another person, football. And the question was, do you watch or play? And I would say yes. I mean, we tend to like to just get outside and the guys throw a football around. And some gals join in.
Kind of like the Kennedys.
Yeah, it's sort of fun to do, you know? We all want to be those amateur Mahomes, right? Show up. And if you can throw one pass out of 10 where you lead a guy who's running and makes a little cut and you go, yeah, I can do that, you know? So that's always fun.
You know, in our family with the backyard football, it always ends up in a bloody mess because we play two-hand touch, someone doesn't call it, these two guys get mad, and then it becomes full tackle, no pads, anything like that. And
so you're really playing. We tend to just throw the ball around the horn,
What's
just
the forecast for
play
Thursday? Because there have been some really beautiful, mild Thanksgivings.
I think it's going to be a little colder.
I think so.
Cold.
Tony Lupo on his Mid-Missouri Facebook page, Facebook page, said that this talk about a polar vortex is sort of overblown. He's holding his cards close to the vest on that one.
For Columbia, I'm showing a high of 41 on Thursday with a snowflake on Friday in my app currently. Yikes.
That's great football playing weather. I don't care who you are.
Yeah,
that's
true.
how God intended football to be played.
Yeah. Yeah, all
showing
of this,
rain and snow showers by the weekend.
We have all this foggy sort of, I don't know.
What's going on? We need to,
It's like West Coast weather. It's like Seattle weather here recently we've had.
I had like a national weather alert for fog, and it's been like all week.
It's been great for hunting, though. When you see that deer come out of the fog at you, it's really fun.
When you can't see anything.
It's been terrible for driving, I can tell you that.
Yeah, for sure.
Which makes you ask about fog lights. Are they really that helpful? I don't know. I don't find fog lights. You try to turn on those auxiliary fog lights that are down low on the car, and
well, you got a big jacked up Big A truck. You know, your fog lights aren't down low towards the pavement. They're
maybe
probably
that's
up
the problem.
on the bumper, 3 feet above the road.
No, it's not jacked up. It's just.
But it's a big truck.
Yeah, it's a big truck.
Okay, Randy, do you have LED lights on your truck?
No, it's a 2015 model. You know, it's old.
I've seen the trashiest trucks with the brightest headlights.
Really?
Man.
Every time I see it, I just really want to just kind of jerk my wheel towards them because I hate those LED lights. Bane of my existence.
They are, they are borderline illegal. They're so bright.
Yeah, but I do like the modern lights on the newer cars. I mean, they really illuminate the road so much better. They do a much better job of it.
Yeah, but you have to wear your sunglasses at night because you can't see anything.
That was a song.
I tell you, I'm just, you know what, I don't know if I should say this. I'm going to jinx myself. Thus far, I'm thankful that I haven't hit a deer. Oh, man.
You should knock on wood. Didn't you say your insurance company almost canceled you for hitting too many deer?
Well, that was when we lived up in northeast Missouri.
Well, plenty of people are stepping in for you because they're littered all over the highways.
I'm coming to work the other morning. I had one bedded down under a tree on our lane and didn't even get up. Just looked at me drive by.
They do get pretty domesticated, don't they? In the neighborhoods and in the subdivisions. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. You live in a subdivision, John, or you?
We've got some neighbors, but
got some neighbors. Yeah, so they get used to
they're
people.
Not on top of us.
They get used to people, and that's why it's probably would be hard to shoot your domesticated deer that are just hanging out. Of course, when they start eating the hostas, not so much.
The neighbors are doing their darndest trying to clean house with the two.
Are they really?
The two big bucks that are on my cam.
Well, I got some nice pictures of my friends catching shooting nice bucks, and when I see their sons and daughters, maybe getting their first buck or maybe their first big buck, it's always exciting. I always like to see that. It's always good, and there'll be a lot of venison stew maybe this holiday season. Maybe
give me the.
John just put his finger in his mouth.
The summer sausage is good. I think.
Yeah, well,
that's how I'd prefer it.
They mask the venison with the pork and the seasoning and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I love the venison jerky. It is the best.
Yeah.
Oh, venison jerky is great, especially if it's the kind where it's really sliced off and it's just a piece of meat, not the ground stuff. That's extruded. Boy, that's just super good. Takes a lot of skill to make that good, though.
And what Randy really wants to say is it's nice and lean, so it's healthy for you.
Yes, that's right. We're going
except for the CWD part.
Hey, at 7:08, a little program note here. We're going to be talking with Joe Borelli. He's a former New York City GOP council leader, so he knows a lot about the inner workings of the city. We talked about that in the wake of the Mamdani-Trump meeting on Friday. What does that mean for the getting along or not of maybe this is the beginning of some partisan friendliness and bipartisanship. Who knows? And then at 8:08, we're talking with Representative Jim Schulte. He was a commander in the National Guard here in Missouri, and then was staff command sergeant. Was that it?
State command
State
sergeant,
command
major,
sergeant,
top enlisted,
top of the deal, and also deployed in Iraq. So he knows a little bit about leadership and about rules and orders on the one hand, giving them and obeying them on the other. And I'd like to have his take on this Dem video where they're saying, well, you should disobey an unlawful order. Get his take on that. And that's at 8:08. So lots coming up. When we come back, it's time you think about your immune system ahead of the gathering and the spreading of germs. We're going to protect that and make Missouri healthy again. Stay tuned.
It's
To be with you on this Thanksgiving week. Thanks for being with us. 573-874-9390 is the text line. We're getting a lot of jerky pictures and stories about old-fashioned deer sausage, and my mouth is watering as I read these. I'm like, oh man, this is great. Thanks for sharing it. This guy said Derek says the key is to cut it a quarter inch. He's got a meat slicer. Oh no, Derek has the old-time sausage. And Doug says he cuts it a quarter inch. That's the secret. Meat slicer, quarter inch thick. And he shows these two trays. He made his jerky over the weekend. Ah, lovely. Hey, so look, this is an interesting time of the year. We start with a candy holiday on Halloween. Then we go to a pie holiday on Thanksgiving. Then it's a cookie holiday on Christmas. Then it's an alcohol holiday a week later. Is there any wonder why our immune systems are beat up and we all get sick?
And then more chocolate on Valentine's
And more
Day.
chocolate.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so that's maybe a little bit of a good entree into how to try to protect your immune system as best you can during this time, because it really is there to protect you. And you will get exposed to germs. There's no doubt about it. You will get exposed to germs. That handshake or that close conversation with someone who is incubating a virus that they'll get sick from 3 days after the holiday at which you shook their hand or had that close conversation with them. And you'll get a dose of some viruses, but you can defend against them. That's what your immune system's for. So protect it. Don't sacrifice it. Prioritize sleep. This is one of the top things you can do. Even one night of sleep, less than 6 hours, can drop your natural killer cells. Those are an important part of your immune system by 70%. That wasn't an error. I said 70%. Try to get that 7 to 9 hours if you can. If you can't, take a nap. Do whatever you can to get some sleep. Restore your immune system. Vitamin D tends to sag in the winter. You may want to ask your doc about a vitamin D test to see where you're at. Some people I tend to recommend supplements, but check with your doctor. We take a couple thousand units during the winter. I think there's very little downside for most people in taking some supplement, and we find a high degree of deficient vitamin D during the wintertime, especially. Daily zinc, not a bad idea at spurts when you're in these close quarter, high risk situations, which is 2 or 3 months over this time period. So popping a little zinc over that time, probably not a bad idea. You don't want to do that forever, though, all the time. That can really deplete copper levels, which has its own set of problems. Nasal hygiene is an important thing. Some people use an iodine-based nasal spray before and after high-risk exposures. You can get those online. They have an antiviral effect, but I think just gently rinsing your nose with some saline spray or clear, or just doing a lavage with a little neti pot might help. If you like mushrooms, eat your mushrooms. Those are good. Elderberry seems to be pretty helpful. But here's the saboteurs of your immune system. This is what sabotages it. Too much added sugar. One soda can suppress your white blood cell function for hours. Too much alcohol. Alcohol suppresses your immune system. And by the way, it doesn't help you get good sleep either. Manage stress if you can. If those talks around the politics and the culture and the policy are getting out of control, maybe go take a breather and protect your immune system with some probiotics too. Not a bad idea. Just a few tips for helping your immune system. When we come back, we talk with Joe Borelli about New York, Mamdani, Trump. Where are they going? Zofran Mamdani lied. He did not say yes when he was asked in the Oval Office about that I heard about if President Trump is a fascist, but he kept smiling and giving his chameleon way he goes. Well, joining us now is Joe Borelli, former New York City Council GOP leader and New York State representative, and he joins us now to unpack exactly what happened with Joe. Welcome into the program. What appeared to be a bit of a budding romance or a bromance there on Friday.
Look, I could see this going downhill pretty quickly when Zorin starts implementing some policies that the Trump administration rightfully has some issues with. I mean, it's good, right? It's a good thing. I'm not a cynic. I'm not a person who wishes the city I live in to do bad just so I can make political points. So I hope, despite my beliefs that Mayor Mamdani might be good for the city, I'm just not terribly optimistic that the bromance between him and the president lasts much longer than the first 6 months, let's say.
So having been in the state assembly and also in the city, you know about the workings of both, the inner workings. How much can he actually do just procedurally? I mean, just in terms of what the mayor has control of in pursuit of the grocery stores run by the city and the free buses and the rent controls and the on and on and on.
Well, some of it's a mixed bag, right? So with the rent freeze, he appoints the majority of people on the Rent Guidelines Board, which is the board that regulates basically rent control buildings in New York, which there's about 800,000 units. Pretty big chunk of the city's apartments are rent control. He could technically freeze the rent, but now you have even people who are sort of progressives that have served on the rent guideline boards coming out and saying, like, this is not the great idea you think it's cracked up to be. I mean, it's not. On policing, he could change policing policy, right? He is the executive. He's in charge of the police commissioner. He could change policing policy. The thing I'm most afraid of, though, is the city council. The city council makes, Zorin Mamdani look like William F. Buckley. These are the most radical people ever assembled in a room at the same time. And with Eric Adams, they had someone who would, on occasion, use his veto to push back on stupid, fundamentally dumb ideas they come up with. With Mamdani, it's going to be the opposite. They're going to be like Maverick and Goose, with their hand on the throttle, just going fast and furious into more progressive nonsense. With the council on his side, he can do a heck of a lot.
That's interesting. That's news to me. So I think what I heard you say, Joe Borelli, who knows a lot about the council and the way it works, did you just say that Mamdani might have to be the brakes on an otherwise runaway progressive train called the council? That's unbelievable.
Yeah. And he's not going to be. I mean,
no, and he won't be.
The one thing they're weighing right now is called the Community Something Protection Act, right? Some jargon acronym for basically what this law will do is require publicly funded nonprofits, so just the government's own nonprofits, like all these social welfare organizations, they have the right of first refusal on buying any building that has 10 units or more. So you're a small landlord, you own, the kind of buildings you see in most major cities that has a few apartments in it, maybe a store on the first floor. You have to give the nonprofit sector 6 months to come up with a price, what they believe is fair market price, in order to take the property from you. You have to sell to them. That's incredible. I mean, when he talks about seizing the means of, production, seizing real estate, this is how it happens. It happens, as all things with the progressives, through the guise of, nonprofits and the alliance between nonprofits and big government.
So is that if you're planning on selling your property, you have to give the nonprofits an option? Or I mean, they have the option.
Basically, before you give it to Dottie, the realtor you've known your whole life, you have to put it in some to-be-determined system that would offer these government-funded nonprofits the opportunity to buy it.
Wow, that is amazing. Joe Borelli joins us now, former New York City Council GOP leader and New York State representative.
Joe, I've got family in Brooklyn who, on their postings, at least on social media, they point to the housing crisis, but they also point up some real infrastructure challenges with sewers and sidewalks and all that they have in Brooklyn. Is that pretty much borough-wide or the whole city?
Well, it depends on the neighborhood you live in, because if you live in one of the low-lying areas, you were affected by Hurricane Sandy about 12 years ago, and the catch-up of new sewer systems is just – it's not going as fast as anyone would want, me included. But I mean, there's definitely challenges. But by the way, Brooklyn has the highest number of public housing units, per county in any county in the country, right? There's something like 600,000 units in total in New York of public housing. The city of New York, who owns these buildings, is by far the worst landlord in the entire city. They're running $50 billion under capital. They basically have more falling apart buildings than they know what to do with. They can't collect rent. They can't enforce rent. They don't get rent, and the buildings are collapsing. And this is the system that Mamdani is saying we should duplicate this and replicate this and make more of it.
Joe, in mid-sized Missouri cities like we broadcast to, there are cries for more housing. But the people that would provide that housing continue to, I think, say, justifiably, the regulations are killing us. Let's right-size the regulations. Is that part of the housing problem in New York City?
Yes. So if you're a large developer who's building a multi-building, 20-story complex with 1,000 units, it makes sense for you to take the time, go through the years of permitting, deal with on the back end, the regulations that regulate how hard it is to get tenants who don't pay out, how hard you have to do to basically support your tenants, all the rules that make New York progressive landlords, right? They're willing to do that for the big 1,000-unit projects. But if you're a small developer who's like, I'm going to build I can afford this, I can finance this, I can get the bank to loan me money, I want to build 15 units and 2 stores on the first floor, right? A regular building. You can't, because it still takes you that same 3 or 4 years of permitting, and then you still have to face on the back end the impossibility of being a landlord in New York. It's not for lack of desire. It's not for the market. The real estate market in New York, if left to its own, would go crazy. People want to live here. People still do want to come. It's the regulations we put on building housing that, by the way, both Mamdani and Trump had a productive conversation. Hyper-focused thing called a ULURP in New York. Trump, as a previous real estate developer, knows exactly what this procedure is. So I actually think they probably did have a very productive conversation about it.
What do you make of the meeting between him and Trump last Friday?
Well, I was, I didn't have him loving Mamdani and hating Marjorie Taylor Greene in my bingo card, for the month of November. That was a surprise. But I've met both of them several times. I know Zorin from the legislature here in New York. It didn't entirely surprise me. For all of Mamdani's faults, he is a very nice person and a very easy person to talk to. He's very charming. He's very polite. He's very chummy. And I think Trump, I've met the president many times. He likes those kind of people who he can kind of slap a back and joke with. And I think it didn't entirely surprise me. I told the New York Times that I think it's going to go better than people think. Both men didn't want to cede ground, but I think both men had an opportunity to surprise both of their critics.
Well, Joe, where do you think this movement is? Wait, I got to ask you about the grocery stores. If I'm a small grocer, a bodega even, owner, I'm thinking, what is this? The government is going to set up competition for me? How likely is that to happen with government-run grocery stores?
Well, it could. Again, it could be the alliance between the government and nonprofits setting up and staging these stores, offering subsidized prices. Yeah, and it would put the struggling grocery stores that have to pay all the $20 minimum wages, all the jazz that makes New York impossible to be a business owner, you still have to compete with. And then, yes, this government grocery store is going to come in and just undercut you in your own neighborhood. That's going to be a problem, and it's not a great one to have.
Yeah, it's tough. Is this money drain that we hear going from New York City to largely Florida, and DeSantis is like the Cheshire Cat going, yeah, bring it on, more Mamdani. We need more. Is that really true, or is that just an RNC and GOP opportunity to make some hay?
Well, the Borellis have a house in Naples too, so I'm part of this. We have a condo down in Naples, Florida. My wife and I talk about how it's harder for us to leave every time we go for the holidays and things. It's very real. The Florida housing market kind of burst a little bit, and the prices are down. coinciding that with the fact that you are going to pay so much more taxes to be here in New York. And by the way, New York has always been a high taxed, high cost of living city. That's not new. The difference was people were willing to pay a little premium because it was so great and so impactful and so interesting to live here. When the city saw its crime rise during COVID, that was an overnight rise in crime. People just left. People said, I'm not paying the premium for subpar services. That coincides with a lot of mid-sized American cities doing a bang-up job. I was just in Nashville a few weeks ago. I mean, what a town. What a great place to live. And you could spend half the money living there. So it is very real. A lot of my constituents, my former constituents from Staten Island, where I live, they end up moving to Jersey because even though Jersey's a high-tax state, you can actually get a lot more for your money just across the river. You're going to see that happen. People are going to continue to move to Delaware, Texas, Vermont even, Florida, South Carolina. I mean, the police department retiree clubs, you have to just look where they're opening up.
Where's he going to get
up more chapters in the Carolinas?
Where's that tax base going to be to pay for all his socialist things? We'll ask that the next time we get together with Joe Borelli. Thanks for being in with us on Wake Up Missouri.
Thank you.
Wow. What we suspect is true. Coming back with Scott Bessent making a comment about an anchor's body part. That when we come back. Stay tuned.
It's Wake
8, we talked to Representative Jim Schulte, who has served this country in the National Guard as the commander of the National Guard. What was it? Command Sergeant?
State Command Sergeant
State
Major,
Command Sergeant
the highest
Major.
ranking enlisted person in the Guard.
State Command. See, I get all these titles. State Command. Okay, Sergeant Major. All right.
There you go.
All right, because I want to honor his service here, which means he had a lot of leadership roles, had to generate a lot of orders, right? But then also was deployed, where I assume he was taking some orders. Maybe not. We'll ask in what position he was deployed, if that was the same position or not. But and everyone except the president has a superior that they take orders from, right? So, and once in a while,
Sergeant Major went to Afghanistan as part of the part of the ag team that worked with the Afghani farmers, trying to bring them into from the Middle Ages to a little more modern time.
Yeah, so probably how to grow those poppies. Have to show them how to grow those poppies better. Just kidding. I'm sure Jim Schulte was not. Maybe he was showing them how to farm bacon. Well, no, not the Afghanis. No, he wasn't doing that.
Would be a good career path? Sergeant Major.
Wow, talk about a dead end to poverty there. Yeah, I'm going to go over there and show those Muslims how to grow pork for bacon. Yeah, that sounds good. How to build CAFOs 101.
Yeah, boy, I would think the customer base would be pretty slim.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. So I get a kick out of some of the little excerpts you hear from the Sunday morning Talking Heads shows, whether it's Meet the Press or Deface the Nation or, any of those. And so Besant has been defending the fact that people are still suffering with the high prices. And he's right. They largely are the legacy of Joe Biden and the complicit Congress, and even Trump's complicit Congress when they shut down the country and started dumping money into everyone's bank account, right? I mean, that's what happened. And it was a lot more money facing the same amount or fewer goods, and inflation was roaring and crazy. And then Joe Biden dumped more money into it with the American Recovery Act and then the Inflation Induction Act. Okay, so he's on with Kristen Welker yesterday, and she's challenging him. It's like, you guys were talking about prices going down, and that's not what I'm hearing, Secretary Bess. And then he came up with this wild thing out of the clear blue.
Well, and banana prices are up almost 7%. Coffee prices up nearly 19%. Isn't the fact that you're rolling back tariffs an admission that ultimately they do drive up prices for consumers?
Wait, Kristen, how much does your arm weigh?
That I do not know.
Exactly. But you know how much you weigh. You get on the scale every morning. Inflation is a composite number, and we look at everything. So we try to push down the things we can control. And as I said, that we are working on the energy prices are down, and everything flows from that.
That caught her by surprise. Christian, how much does your arm weigh? Hello? And then he went there. Here he is talking to a female news anchor, asking her about, well, yeah, you get on the scale every day. I was waiting for that one. Boy, that could have gone south in a big, bad hurry. If it would have been Donald Trump with that kind of a metaphor, that wouldn't have worked out well.
Maybe that's a new pickup line. How much does your arm weigh? Catches them off guard, right?
Yeah, I mean, that really caught me off guard. And I don't know whether it was pretty
You should
good.
just start DMing that to people, Drake. See how it works out for you.
All right, I'll give you an update.
Why don't you try that
That'd
over
be a perfect one. Try it with the MU softball pitch.
There you go. Yeah, or the volleyball team, or that'd be good. Let's see how Drake does. We'll get a report back on after he tries that on a few ladies and see how that works out for him. Back with more after this. Did you hear that MTG resigned?
Has America
Well, you may not have heard it because you were obtaining and or setting up your Christmas tree, getting ready for the Thanksgiving Day festivities. Stephanie Bell's already got her tree set up ahead of the late Thanksgiving this year. Oh, I'm having great feelings of guilt now. We have not even obtained our tree yet. John, how you doing on the tree?
No tree yet.
Oh.
Still in the box.
Drake, you have your tree. Do I even ask? Drake, how's that tree trimming going for you?
You know, if I didn't have such a busy weekend,
Yes.
I have a knack for putting up or taking down Christmas trees after a terrible Mizzou loss.
Yes.
And I should have done that Saturday.
Yeah.
I was irresponsible and I didn't, but I'm sure there'll be a basketball loss sometime that'll make me put up a Christmas tree.
You think so?
Hey.
Hopefully I
the
can
undefeated Missouri Tigers.
Yeah, right now. But, you know, I just hope that it stays up throughout March and the beginning of April, which means that we win a national championship.
You think so?
I hope so. Yeah, we're going undefeated. You're right, John, we're going undefeated. Missouri basketball.
We're going all the way.
We're going all the way, and it's going to be great.
Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene is defeated. She says that the GOP has not done what they needed to do. They made a lot of promises. They have not delivered. They were inactive during the shutdown, which I think Mike Johnson would dispute. I think there was work going on behind the scenes and in the districts. Stephanie, we talked with Mark Alford. We talked with Bob Onder. They were busy at work in their districts, learning things. We heard about some work going on in D.C., I think, with certain committees that were, maybe they were doing it remotely, I don't know, but working on different policy matters. But it wasn't enough for MTG. So Friday night, she announced she was resigning.
Against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything have all been welcomed in right after the election. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much for all of us. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative.
So her grievance is, I was a staunch supporter of Donald Trump with a few exceptions, and because I pushed back on a few things, which I think many Americans would not disagree with. I mean, H-1B visas. Most people wanted the Epstein files released. She said, suddenly I'm a traitor and I'm going to be primaried, so she's out of there. Others are saying about her, well, what a coward. She ought to fight for what's right. But I think about the fact that Trey Gowdy on his show on Sunday evenings on Fox, I really enjoyed Trey Gowdy. Remember when he did the Benghazi hearings when he was in Congress, Stephanie? And I think it was in that oversight committee. Boy, his prosecutor came out crazily good, right?
He's good.
He did a good job. But he got frustrated and basically bowed out. He says, you just can't, it's so dysfunctional here, I can't do anything. And he references to that frequently. Congressman Burchett he expresses that frequently. John Kennedy, our friend from Louisiana, he expresses that sentiment frequently, that it's just dysfunctional. We can't get stuff done. So I think there is a shared frustration, although maybe these people have egos that are outsized compared to their real power among 534 other elected people. And I guess that's a fair criticism, too. It is a little concerning to me that her resignation is effective not at the end of her term, but in January 5th. And I have read more than one report. Again, I have not confirmed this, but that says that she's resigning effective 3 days after she becomes eligible for that lifelong pension. So that's a little
rude,
bit concerning. Yeah. But I think a lot of people may be beginning to wonder. It's like, boy, if you look at Trump cross, as long as you're with him 100% of the time, that's good. But you look at him crossways, and you get anything in disagreeing with him, and bingo, bango, you're out of there. Here's what he had to say on the White House lawn when he was asked about that. I thought it was interesting.
I know that before you had a fight with Elon Musk and you guys were able to work it out.
No, I get along with everybody.
We see the same thing happening between you and some of the...
Sure, why not? I mean, I get along with everybody.
So he said he's going to get along with her. In other sound bites, he said that he thinks she's a nice woman. She just was a loser legislatively and wasn't going to be able to be effective. He's primarying our friend Tom Massey, right? And also he has nothing good to say about Rand Paul. Yeah, I don't know. 573-874-9390. Where do you stand on this alleged, and the media would like to paint it as a wide and ever-widening gap and canyon between certain aspects of the conservative movement, that let's call it the GOP tent, the Trump tent, and how people are beginning to, some people are saying, hey, I don't know about this. This unswerving allegiance to Israel. If you criticize any of the actions or the support for Israel, then suddenly you're named an anti-Semite. I don't know. I have friends who I disagree with. That doesn't mean I think they're bad people. What is Drake's making all kinds of funny hand signals there? It's not time to get out. What are you talking about?
No, I'm just excited. It's Monday and things are happening. It's great, Randy.
Okay. John says, don't fail to notice everyone that tried to fight the system has or are leaving. Yeah. So, look, again, I'm a guy that likes to just sort of get ahead of trends before they become a threat to what is otherwise a very, very good and well-meaning and successful movement on the border, on deregulation, on energy, on law and order. Man, has Trump checked all those boxes. On the other hand, 600,000 Chinese students, H-1B visas, tariffs that sent the economy into chaos, especially for those of us trying to just pay the bills for everyday items. And I think just to question that, suddenly, you become excluded. That I think there's a large number of people that may begin to question their loyalties to a movement, that if you question any aspect of the movement, you're a bad person. You're somehow excluded. You're canceled. I thought we didn't like cancel culture on the left when it came from the left. But yet when we see it on the right from the hardcore Trump loyalists, it's okay. At least that's the way it appears to me from the 30,000-foot view. How about you? 573-874-9390. John, you want to touch that one with a 10-foot pole?
Valid comment. It works both ways.
Because I want Trump, and I want the movement, and I want the GOP, and I want conservatism, and I want it to be all very, very successful. I don't want it to be something that's a flash in the pan that lasts a couple of administrations, well, one abbreviated by COVID, the other perhaps abbreviated by the midterms. That's my big issue. People listening to this program largely are not the ones that are going to make the difference in the midterms. It's those who vote Democratic one cycle and vote Republican the next cycle.
We saw the red trickle, the red drizzle, whatever you want to call it, the last time around, and it was a shock to a lot of people.
Why didn't they show up in bigger numbers, even if not winning numbers, in the Northeast? Was it just resignation? That's a possibility. It's just like, come on, we're in the Northeast, we're in Virginia, we're in New York City, we're in New Jersey. Are you kidding me? I'm staying home and reading my novel. Okay, yeah, maybe so.
The libs have got it in bushel baskets full up that way. But does that mean, would be the mindset.
But so you think it was just a matter of resignation? Why go out and vote? But that could give fuel to the other side to say, wow, we're on fire. Give them some momentum. Drake has his hand on the microphone like he's wanting to say something. Go ahead, Drake.
You know, my grandpa said something that's very smart.
Grandpas usually do.
No,
they usually do.
He's been preaching this since I was a kid, that elections are decided by the village idiot. That's who they're. And I've tried to come up with a better way to say it, but that's it. It's just the village idiot. I mean, if you're left, you're going to vote left. If you're right, you're going to vote right. And then, whether policy or whatever, it's just the village idiot, whoever he's pleased by, the colorful ads and all of that.
So wait a minute. So are you saying that the people on the left and the people on the right, according to your interpretation of Grandpa's credo, are not the village idiots? They're smart. They're principled. They're wise. It's the people in the middle who are the village idiots. Is that what you're saying?
The people in the middle are village idiots. Yeah. I mean, if you're left, you might be wrong, but at least you're trying to think and look into the policy.
Okay.
And on the right, you also look into the policy, and you're not voting for Trump. Oh, he's kind of cool, whatever. We're running off of vibes, or whatever Kamala was saying during her election. But, I mean, it's the village idiots.
John says T has done a 180 on many of his campaign promises. Hard to continue supporting that. Now, I'd like to know if John is a self-proclaimed conservative. The whole definition of what conservatism means, I think, is changing before our eyes, right? We no longer have Barry Goldwater, hardcore conservatism. William F. Buckley. We don't have that kind of conservatism anymore. We've got some kind of a populist thing. I don't know, sort of weird, diluted. What are you laughing about, Drake? Diluted conservative. Drake's grandpa nailed it, says Drew. So that means Drew is not a village idiot.
No, he's not. You're in my grandpa's good graces.
Luke says, I dumped MAGA months ago, completely over President Trump after MTG, a terrorist in the Oval Office, Mamdani in the Oval Office. And I'll bet Mamdani supporters are giving him the same kind of hell. Like, what are you doing? You're collaborating with a capitalist? Oh my goodness. Gotta love the politics thing, right? When our pastor asked, what do you talk about? What do you do on Thanksgiving? Football. People said, turkey. Others said, play games. We said, we talk politics, and everyone shook their head. Man, you sicko. What do you got coming up, John?
King of rock and roll, just not in the courtroom.
Okay. Let's see what that means. We better get a special bumper ready for that one. Be back in a minute.
It's
Thornhill, a St. Charles County, Missouri circuit judge, has been suspended and will be banned from holding judicial offices in Missouri. Thornhill was found to have engaged in several acts of misconduct, including discussing politics from the bench, but his most notable overstep was occasionally wearing a large plastic Elvis wig and sunglasses while presiding over the court. Thornhill said he was just trying to add levity and relax people, but says now he can see how his actions affected the solemnity of the proceedings and admitted to the charges, waived the right to the appeal, and with that, Elvis has left the building. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you can't ask for respect and solemnity and act like that then in the courtroom, right?
I don't know. There you go. Maybe
I can't.
It was all about the timing.
I can't say I've ever seen a judge in costume during any proceedings.
I wonder on Halloween if judges have ever had fun with that in a jestful.
I hope not.
No?
I hope not.
Personal anecdote, I think the prettiest girl I've ever seen in the bar was in an Elvis costume, like a full done, like with the wig and like the whole costume. No, oh my God, it was a sight to see.
Sequins and all, huh?
Did you ask her how much her arm weighed?
No, I stepped on her blue suede shoes and she told me to go.
In case you're just joining us, Scott Bessett asked Kristen Welker on Meet the Depressed yesterday when she was saying, well, bananas are up 9% and coffee's up 19%. Boy, coffee is up. But Caldi's coffee is worth every cent of it, even if it is up a hair. And he said, you guys are talking about inflation, and what are you doing about inflation, naming these various commodities? And he says, Kristen, how much does your arm weigh? She looked at him like, what are you talking? He said, well, you don't weigh your arm when you get on the scale in the morning. You weigh your whole body. And we weigh the whole basket of goods, and energy prices are down. That will lead a decline in prices. I don't disagree with that. That's smart. This is the big question on the table. We just got done spending a little time about, what does the future look like for the MAGA movement for Trump? There's been some things where he's sort of made MAGA people, and many of you have texted us and say, wow, I voted for him, but he's arrogant. Darren said that. Thinks everything he does is great. Done a lot of good, however. He can't handle any criticism, constructive or not. And I think that it would behoove him. Others, say, hey, he's got something else up his sleeve. Don't fall prey to what the left wants you to do, and that is to criticize him. Well, I don't know. Playing right into the hands of the left's hands with comments? Am I really? I know too many people that are on the MAGA Trump, that are absolutely Trump team, that are now questioning it, and they don't like his behavior. Well, what about people that voted for Trump because they just didn't like Kamala? And you put a Gavin Newsom in there, you put the governor of Pennsylvania in there, who knows? And someone that's a little more moderate in their character, who's to say they don't get their vote in 28? Against a Vance. Now, Vance is not Trump by any means, and he moderates a little bit. But will people take it out on congressional and senatorial candidates because they're angry at Trump's arrogance or his character or his, whatever? What do you think?
We have a lot to overcome. Not only, just the nature of the midterms is typically people vote against whoever's in the presidency, but, we've seen some energizing amongst the Democrats with Virginia and New Jersey, and the economy's not where we want it to be, and we've seen a lot of divisiveness amongst our own, so we've got to get on the same page.
Got to get on the shtick. All right. We don't want the left to win out. That would be a calamity. Absolute calamity to reverse the successful border policy and all the other good things. All right, when we come back, Jim Schulte on Dems asking service members to say no to orders. that was illegal in that video that they cut that implied there was something illegal that had already happened. As many of the people, the Democrat elected officials on that video last week said, just alerting people now, they're saying, just alerting. We don't have anything specific that he's done that's illegal. Walking it back a little bit. Well, to help us sort this out, we thought we'd better talk to Representative Jim Schulte, who knows a little bit about leadership, having been the state command sergeant major for the National Guard and then having served and been deployed overseas a couple of times, right, Jim? Welcome into the program.
Good morning, Randy. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so this was quite a flap, and I'm not going to waste our time, but there were about 15 U.S. representatives who are veterans who really fired back at that handful of Democrat senators and reps and said, hey, this is not honorable behavior on their part, and you better watch it. You're going to end up, they basically said there's going to be some severe consequences if you, service member, just decide willy-nilly what's legal and what isn't. Let's ask the first fundamental question, Jim, and this is John, our listener, channeled exactly what I was going to ask you. What constitutes an unlawful order?
Well, it's an order that directly violates the Constitution. We're sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States, and it's a direct violation of the Constitution when an illegal order. It's what stops us from murdering innocent people or even prisoners, doing other things that are just totally go against the grain of decency and what we're built upon.
Is it something that's defined clearly in the UCMJ, or is it something that you have to get adjudicated if you're contemplating that? And by whom would adjudicate that?
Well, sometimes, like everything in life, there's fine lines between things, and it comes down to a judgment call. But for almost always, if it's in question, the leadership will challenge it, question it. We have legal people that are there just to clearly define what is and isn't legal and what's right and what's wrong, and then we teach our soldiers just the fundamentals of right and wrong, and it's a judgment call sometimes, but you have to base it on what's right. I'm watching the video of these Democrats telling everybody to go against the president and these orders, and it's just an act of desperation, in my opinion. They're not specifically saying what's wrong, why it's wrong, or that this is illegal and immoral. They're just trying to create dissension among the troops to attack the president. It's more a Trump derangement syndrome than anything.
Yeah, I've heard them talk about, they've referenced either the Venezuelan situation, taking boats out of the water, nuking the boats with a missile, basically, and also maybe going into these cities. But I have not heard one instance where a National Guardsman or any other one else that's maybe in D.C., for instance, was doing anything but having a presence around federal buildings, which I think, would anyone argue with that, about defending a federal building? But I haven't heard about anyone assaulting a domestic, a citizen that was maybe protesting, not assaulting, but trying to arrest, because they don't have those authorities, do they? If you're a National Guardsman, Jim, and you are called into D.C. to show a presence there, you don't have that police authority, do you?
Well, I'm not sure what authority they've been put under, but generally not. But, somebody told me one time that without order, there can be no law. Mm-hmm. The National Guard being called into these situations is to provide order to chaos, mm-hmm. and calm things down, and just being present drives the crime rate down exponentially. My son lives up there, and he just said, it's the fact that there's guard troops on the streets in Washington, D.C. has driven the crime rate down noticeably. People can go out at night and walk the streets and go to restaurants and things they weren't doing before. And that presence alone has created a calming effect and a peace that otherwise wasn't in existence.
That's Representative Jim Schulte, District 49, serving the Callaway County area. He's from New Bloomfield here in central Missouri.
So Sergeant Major, did you ever have to go to the JAG at the battalion level while you were serving in the Guard and ask for direction on an order that had come down?
No, generally they would brief us first. If we had a mission or anything we were going to do, there would be JAG part of our mobilization process was JAG officers would come in and explain the rules of engagement and say what was lawful and what was not lawful, and just to make it clear and answer questions anybody had about that.
Wow. Jim's a 41-year veteran. That's what your bio says on the Missouri Army National Guard. Holy cow. That's a long tenure, Jim. You must have joined when you were 9.
You know what? When you look at how many things this country's done in the history of the National Guard, that's not even a brush stroke.
And then also with the Highway Patrol for 5 years. Hey, I know you're a cattle farmer. Let's switch gears a little bit.
Sure.
I read that Tyson Foods is closing down, or they're going to shut down a huge plant in Nebraska, a big, slaughter and processing plant, because they're losing like millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, $450 million, I think, lost this year, because what they're having to pay cattle farmers. Are you getting your violins out because your prices are up a little bit?
Yeah, that's just so sad. We've got a new processing plant here in Missouri that's just doing great, and they're a family-owned company that's, I think they're based out of Nebraska, but it's Heartland down near Wright City. I toured it earlier this year. It's 19 acres under roof, and when we were touring it, they had 1,100 head of cattle hanging on rails.
Holy cow.
Going through the assembly. Yeah, 600 employees processing these beef. It was amazing to watch, and they're a family-owned business. They're in 5 states now, and they seem to be doing just great. So maybe Tyson's one of those companies that got too big for themselves. I don't know.
Now, we're getting really close to the pre-filing of bills for next session. Have you talked internally as a caucus of what the priorities for next session are going to be?
Yeah, we have. We had a caucus meeting last month, and a number of things came up. Taxes is going to be, I think, a big one again. We've got some other things in the health arena. I've got a bill that I've been trying to get through called Elijah's Law. It's about training our child care facilities on the use of epinephrine devices for kids with allergies.
Mm-hmm.
And it got all the way through to this. It was on the floor of the Senate last year when the Dems walked out and the session ended 2 days earlier. We probably would have got it passed then. So that's going to be one of my first ones to go with. And,
that's a common sense law. Boy, that's common sense, yeah.
Well, and it had bipartisan support. I mean, both sides of the aisle voted for it in the House, and if it wasn't unanimous, it was close. So hopefully this time we can get it in there early and get it through before all the end of year chaos starts.
Are you friends with Representative Stinnett from Greentown?
Yes. Yeah, we started together, and
yeah, that's what I thought.
And in fact, Melanie and I parked next to each other in the garage. That's
well, okay. Well, now there you go. See, I lobbied her last week to get something going, as Texas and Tennessee do. You talk about a simple law, probably would be 1 or 2 pages at the most. That they have laws where it mandates that cash payments by patients who have deductibles are applicable to deductibles. They're currently not. That would bring down the price of everyone's out-of-pocket care. But a lot of people have to pay the insurance negotiated price towards whatever, if they're having a CT scan or a echocardiogram or a stress test. And it's outrageously priced often compared to cash, but people end up doing that because they want to try to get to their deductible. Maybe you and she could buddy up on your walk in from your parking spot next door and work on something like that this year.
Well, she's been a great representative, and she'll make a great senator. And she's really been carrying the water on the healthcare side of the House.
Wow.
So I'm sure she's a great one to handle those kind of things and deal with it.
Yeah. Well, and I know you're not on that committee, but certainly all of your constituents, I think everyone listening to this program is worried not just about the Obamacare subsidies going away for a minority of Americans, but it's everyone's health care is going crazy talk about inflation in our cost of living. That healthcare cost is just going crazy. We have to fix that somehow.
Yeah, our healthcare system's broke, and it's really coming to light how bad it is, and hopefully at the federal level and the state level we can do some things to alleviate that pain.
Yeah. Well, it's always an honor to talk to a gentleman who has gotten a combat infantry badge, a Legion of Merit, and a Bronze Star. And we thank you, Jim, for your service to the country and to your area and to the state. We appreciate you weighing in on this controversy and dust up where the Democrats, they lit this fuse, and I was glad to see that a lot of veterans like you and others at the federal and other levels are pushing back and saying, you guys are loco. That's crazy. Thanks so much, Jim.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, Randy. It's always fun.
Thanks for being on. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's I think most level-headed veterans that look at this, say, wait a minute, you can't just basically urge people in a vague video without further direction to question. I would almost understand it if they said, look, if you're being asked to go in and arrest protesters in Chicago and you're a guardsman, that may not be within your purview as whatever. I would get that. But that was sort of a cowardly way to paint that broad brushstroke and urge people to just sort of decide, what's legal and what isn't. That's tough. Well, we thank Jim for being on. Let's see how the markets are reacting to the Mamdani-Trump meeting, MTG resigning, Scott Bessent asking how much Kristen Welker's arm weighs. Well, I don't know if investors are thinking about that, but we'll see what Stephanie says with the Morning Bell in a few.
It's Wake Up Miss
Time for the morning bell.
We had a bit of whiplash last week. It wasn't a good week. But then Friday, we rebounded some. We have the NASDAQ up 0.88%, the S&P up 0.98%, the Dow up 1.08%. Everybody in the sectors was in the green. Doing the best was materials, health, and communication services. As we look to, so this weekend, my girls convinced me to attend the movie theater. I don't do it very often. I think, Randy, the last time y'all asked me what movie I saw, I had trouble remembering, but this was worth it.
Thank God. Haven't you heard? I'm the Wicked Witch of the West.
This is the work of the Wicked Witch.
So we went to go see Wicked for Good, which is the sequel to the Wicked that came out before. It is the adaptation with Ariana Grande. Very good. I took the kids. Even my son said, wow, like the visuals and all of that was really good. I will tell you, it runs long in that I was not prepared. I think the runtime on it's like 2:20, which is shorter than the first Wicked, but I was a little bit like, I'm thinking, when are we going to get home? We went and saw the 7:30 show. It was like 9:30 by the time we were out of there. But I wasn't alone in that. The movie set a new record for a Broadway adaptation, breaking the 112.5 million benchmark set by last year's Wicked. It had a global opening of 226 million. It's the second biggest U.S. opening this year, behind a Minecraft movie and ahead of Lilo and Stitch. And this is after we recorded the worst October for domestic box office sales since 1998. That's, of course, excluding COVID. It might be a big month for the box office. The other one, and I saw a preview in the theater for this one, the one I'm really excited about is, have you seen Zootopia? Oh my gosh. Drake, do you know what Zootopia is? Please say
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, I know what Zootopia is.
Oh, it was one of the more fun kids' movies when my kids were little. I thought it was fabulous. I saw the preview in the theater. It comes out on Wednesday, so I might be back in the box office this weekend to see Zootopia 2, which I think will be really good.
Trailer looks funny.
And the first movie, I mean, there are so many lines from that first movie. When the sloths run the DMV, that scene alone is worth rewatching Zootopia, the original, which I might have to do before I go see the second one. They are pointing out that this movie is rated PG. That remains the most lucrative rating for films these days because it's still got a little bit of adult humor in it, but it's safe for kids. Last year, PG movies accounted for 36.3% of box office receipts. It's still up in the air of whether the second movie will, although the opening weekend was really big, whether it will ultimately exceed the first movie. Folks are saying Ariana Grande has gone beyond just a pop star and this establishes her as a official movie star. I will note again that the domestic audience for this movie was 71% female. But like I said, my son thought the visuals were really good, and I think it's worth a watch. We will be getting some more retail information and sales reports this week. The U.S. Retail Sales Report and the Producer Price Index report for September will be released tomorrow. Those were delayed due to the government shutdown, so we'll keep our eye on that for you this week.
We'll go out with a little bit of Wicked for Good and come back on the other side talking about this Nashville state senator who looks maybe, or state rep who may be winning a state senator seat down there. Stay tuned.
Together.
I think
So we have an interesting election going down in Nashville. This is interesting. Why? Because Nashville, I mean, we don't think of the Nashville area as being New York City blue, Seattle blue, Portland blue, Chicago blue. I don't know. Stephanie, you spend a lot of time down there. Is it blue?
Nashville blue? Yeah. You said last week you don't spend much time there.
I said you spent time. I don't. That's what I'm asking you. I mean,
yeah, it's blue.
This state representative who's running for U.S. Rep, Afton Ben, B-E-H-N, Bain. You say Ben, I say Bain. Let's call the whole thing off. I mean, we caught her in an old podcast or something saying she hates Nashville. She doesn't like the girls with their bachelorette party. She doesn't like country music. I mean,
imagine someone from Missouri saying they hate farmers.
Or, I hate the Tigers. I hate the Tigers.
Well, no, but I hate country music, like the industry that put your city on the map. I mean, could you get elected in Missouri if you went out there and said, you know what, I really hate agriculture?
So, but apparently my daughter is stationed with her husband down there in Clarksville, Tennessee, which is, 30, 40 minutes from Nashville, I think. Maybe not too far beyond that. And she's going to be voting in that election, Shannon. She indicates that from the way she's hearing, she might win. But it's not just Nashville proper, right? I mean, her district would, certainly it has to include more than just
the
Nashville.
7th Congressional, yeah.
So let's see where that encompasses. Certainly there's got to be some red areas there. And
the whole state of Tennessee is about as red as it gets.
Yeah, but I'm talking
but Nashville. Yeah, that's pretty blue.
But
the 7th district gets just a little hair of Nashville and basically all west of that.
Okay, so you'd think that there would be a lot of
a big chunk of
a lot of redness going on there. Shannon is saying she's hearing that this Matt Van Epps is a pretty solid guy. He's a veteran and, has good credentials.
It encompasses most of Clarksville and a little bit of Franklin, which is like the bougie part where Justin Timberlake lives.
Franklin
and then
is
Nashville.
sort of, what is Franklin like? Maybe
it's like
Chesterfield, Missouri?
Kind of.
Yeah,
Town and country.
Town and country. I mean, it's pretty, you'd think that'd be largely red, fairly successful people economically. Well, here's what she said the other day on a broadcast. There's 4 talking heads. She's one of them. Here we go.
We're very critical of police. You said in those since deleted tweets that the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department should be dissolved. Another cheered on a teachers union saying that defund the police should be a requirement for schools reopening. And another saying good morning, especially to the 54% of Americans that believe burning down a police station is justified.
Hello?
2020 was obviously a very fraught year. Do you still stand by those comments? And if not, is there anything you want to clarify?
I'm not going to engage in cable news talking points, but what I will say is that, our communities need solutions. We need local people deciding, solving local problems with local solutions. And that's not the overreach of a federal government.
Well, wasn't it Lloyd Benson that said to Dan Quayle, I knew John Kennedy and you're no John Kennedy? Well, I think she's trying to be Mamdani. And she's not Mamdani. She pivots instead of answering the question. Politicians are very deft at this. When they're asked a challenging question, and it's not just a gotcha, it's a legitimate question. This is what you said. Do you still stand by it? A very legitimate question. Well, you're not going to answer the talking point. Yeah, whatever. We're going to find solutions. We're going to find solutions. That is so off-putting to me. It's like, you coward. Answer the questions. Just answer. Say, yes, I stand by 54% of Americans who think it's okay to burn down buildings. Just stand by it. Have some principles, woman.
How old is she? She sounds very young.
I had her Wikipedia page pulled up here. Hold on.
She is
pretty young. She's been serving in the state legislature as a representative. She was born in 1989. How old does that make her?
36?
35.
35?
Her birthday's today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Afton. Anyway, so maybe she's 36 today.
I don't know. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, there's something going on in this country. That this woman even has an ear. I mean, look, if someone on the right was a candidate and said that it's okay to burn buildings down, we would say, forget it. You're out of here. Be gone. The fact that there's enough people with money and votes to, first of all, vote her into the State House, and now to strong. Apparently, she's running very strong against an Army veteran. I don't know what service branch she was in. A veteran with great credentials, upstanding citizen.
She's kind of cute, so she can get away with a couple.
Oh my God, Drake.
Yikes, Drake.
I mean,
I think
look,
that makes
I call
my
balls
point.
and strikes. Yeah.
What did your grandpa say about village idiots?
I something about how they determine elections.
I mean,
and
who was it that wasn't it Scott Jennings who just said, like, look, if AOC was like 250 pounds and kind of ugly, no one would pay a lick of attention to her? Wasn't that him? You guys are looking at me like I'm the bad person. Someone said it.
Are you fat shaming,
Was he
Stephanie?
fat shaming?
No, I'm just saying, I think the
she's
same
channeling.
thing is true. But Drake has a point in that a lot of people and Mondami is a good example. If you're good looking, a lot of people tune an ear into
It's
you,
true.
even if you're stupid
Yeah.
or you have bad policies.
AOC.
It's one of the
exactly.
One of the reasons people tunes into Wake Up Missouri. My good looks.
Yeah, Stephanie fat shaming and saying Zoran Mondani is like hot, I guess. I don't know.
Are you saying Zoran is hot?
He's good looking.
Oh, he's good looking.
I'm not saying he's hot.
Drake, you're saying Afton Bain, you'd vote for her despite her progressive leftist policies because you think she's good looking?
I'm not saying I'd vote for her, but I mean, I'll give her a couple passes. She could say some stupid stuff and get away with it.
Would you ask her how much her arm weighs?
I think I would.
Yeah.
I think I'll get on that.
Drake, this is an assignment for producer Drake to see if that line works out. I think they'd think you were really either stoned or high or drunk or all of the above.
So now we're just calling me a stoner using insults because I think that she's pretty and she could say some stupid stuff.
No,
I see how it is.
Saying
No,
if
it's
you
okay.
walked up to any woman and said, how much does your arm weigh?
Just know, Randy, I would call you out if you said anything wrong.
You regularly do. I just thought this was fantastic.
Maybe it was Kevin O'Leary. I'm still trying to find this quote, but somebody said that about AOC recently.
Do you think AOC is that good looking? I don't find her good looking. I just don't find her attractive. Maybe that's because of her politics. I don't know.
I mean, if you've seen some of the girls in my generation and above, it's very slim pickings. So
slim pickings, you're saying?
Yeah.
Now you're denigrating other women in your generation.
Yeah, but I stand by it.
That's going to get you a lot of action at the bar.
Yeah, no, I stand on business, Randy.
John's getting a big kick.
Yes, hey, he's consistent. Give him that.
Well, whether she's attractive or not matters not, but one Becky Quick on CNBC gets a vote from Randy. Why? Because she really took it to Hakeem Jeffries. I thought this was good. I'm glad to see when an anchor takes it to these elected officials that want to dodge and deflect and rope-a-dope and not answer the question. Good for her.
To satiate, if you want to get done, you are going to need at least some Republicans to come over. Why not start with a 1-year extension or potentially even a 2-year extension?
Well, Leader Schumer offered a 1-year extension in the context of trying to end the Trump Republican shutdown.
Yeah, but that's different. But I'm talking about what you have now. Let's not go back to what's done in the past and what has not been extended. If you want to get something that has actually done, you need to do something that will have bipartisan.
You can ask me the question. You can ask me the question. I'll provide the answer.
Answer the question instead of going back.
I'll provide the answer.
Good for her. Answer the question. When are reporters going to start doing that? John, have you ever had to sort of get in a politician or some other, notable's face when they were dodging, or did you choose not to, or did you do that? How did you handle that?
I mean, that goes with the job. You got to ask them the hard questions sometimes, and more often than not, you ask them the question a couple times, you get the same answer, just reworded. But sure, whether they were on the left or the right, sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, to his credit, Donald Trump answers questions. I really admire that about the guy. He does not dodge the question. He answers questions forthrightly. You don't always know whether that's what's ultimately going to happen.
When he's in the mood, too.
Yeah, but I mean, I think in general, in general, he's much, much, much more willing than 99.9% of other politicians to answer the question and let the chips fall where they will.
You know, and he'll answer the question, maybe not 100% truthfully. What did he say when they asked about Marjorie Taylor Greene? I get along with everybody. I think.
Well, yeah.
That's
no.
I don't know that.
That's an exception, but I think in general he's. I think he likes to put up trial balloons in his answers a lot. Well, I'm thinking about it, and then gets people talking about it. And any publicity is good publicity. He knows that one maxim of marketing in general, right? If you're a brand and one way or another, they all make some hay on that. But well, here's one. Speaking of people who would speak their piece, here's the Chiefs coordinator. What is the ST coordinator? Special teams coordinator. Yep. Dave Taub.
Dave Taub, former Missouri Tiger.
Okay, so Trump was criticizing the new kickoff rules. I just admire anyone who was willing to get out there and answer the darn question. It's like, thank you. Everyone else of us has to do that in everyday life. Well, unless you're a manager type or
President criticized the new kickoff rules when he was at the Washington game. What's your reaction? He
doesn't even know what he's looking at. He has no idea what's going on with the kickoff rule. So, I take that for what it's worth. And I hope he hears it.
Harold, go ahead.
Good for him. He's like, he doesn't even know what he's looking at. I guess when Trump attended the Washington Commanders game, he must have said something about the kickoff.
Yeah, Dave Taub was a strength and conditioning coach for the Tigers for, years and all. And he's a pretty straight shooter.
I like that. That is just so refreshing. I like that. Give me a Bernie Sanders who shoots straight, even though I disagree with him. At least you know where the guy stands. And that's what I don't like about Mamdani. He waffles back and forth, and he's not consistent. And then when he's in the Oval Office with the president, he backs off, and he's Mr. Nice Guy. Come on, we're tired of that stuff. Of course, I guess Trump did the same thing. He calls him a communist 2 weeks earlier, and then he's like, well, he's actually very rational. I think he's going to do a good job. He's like, okay. 573-874-9390 on this Thanksgiving week kickoff show. We'll be here tomorrow again, and then again on Wednesday. When we come back, I've got an interesting Bill Maher comment. Bill, once in a while, gets it very, very right. Stay tuned.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
Well, it's Thanksgiving week. Everyone anticipating a lot of fun with family and friends and good eating. But there's always those potential pitfalls, those moments when everything is at risk of melting down because some provocateur in the family decides to ask a question like, so how's that new TPUSA thing going on that campus near you? That new chapter. Oops. You know what I mean? And then someone lights to light the fire, and then all of a sudden those talks go south. Well, a lot of people aren't going to celebrations this year, which has happened, I think, since the Trump era. There's been a lot of canceling of family members and people not even going because they just don't want to be around them, or they're not invited, on the other hand. Well, apparently Jimmy Kimmel's wife was among those who canceled family members. Listen.
In St. Louis.
Molly McNerney, Jimmy Kimmel's wife and head writer, went public on this topic recently, so I feel it's fair to comment respectfully in public. She says she's lost relationships with relatives because she wrote them an email before the election with 10 reasons why they shouldn't vote for Trump, and some still didn't obey. So, 10 reasons. I can think of 100. But I would never present it to someone as an ultimatum. Ultimatums don't make people rethink their politics. They make them rethink you.
Wise words.
Good.
Wise
take
words
on it.
Yeah, it's a good take.
That's why you should talk about nothing but how the deer season went at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You're gathering. Hey, did you get a big one?
And if you're in
pictures,
and if you're in politically hostile territory, just go shiver in the corner like you're a withdrawing drug addict. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be a part of this. Just go disappear.
You mean I shouldn't wage war with my clothing?
What do you mean?
I mean, I know I have family members who had a the Resist sweatshirt.
Oh, really?
Sure,
and,
me too.
Jennifer Bukowski gifted me one after the last election that says "Unburdened."
Oh,
should I wear that?
Wow. I don't know. Those are fighting clothes.
It's part of my favorite thing of the current basketball season. My son's playing 8th grade basketball, and we get to go to lots of mid-Missouri towns. And the number of Trump shirts and Trump hats that get worn, I just feel so comfortable and in my element. It's lovely.
You're at home there.
Yeah.
Might want to watch it in Nashville. Might get jumped on the street with that sweatshirt.
Oh, yeah. I'm not
They can
packing.
figure out what it means, right?
Yeah, I'm not packing any of that. I'll just pack my cowboy hat.
Drake, are you at any risk of that, or is your family and extended family pretty lockstep, pretty good? Everyone.
There's a couple that are have very different views than me, and
go ahead and say it. They're confused. That's okay.
Yeah, my favorite pastime is getting my grandpa or another relative is super right leaning, watches Fox all day, talk about something political. Someone gets into an argument and leaves the room, and I just eat my cheesy potatoes in the other room. Talk to other family members. I'll check on them occasionally, make sure no one killed each other.
Just make your plate and go out on the porch where it's cold and nowhere else wants to be. Yeah,
so it clears up the line really quick.
Yeah, it does. No doubt about it. Yeah. Of course, if the day is growing long and you're hosting something and you're just like, I've still got to clean up. I got to take the carcass of the bird and I like to make broth out of it, and cook it overnight and stuff. I'm like, oh, let's drop a little political comment in there. That'll get everyone to leave quickly.
Actually, I don't think it's politics that's the worst thing in our household. We have 2 people in our family who are still Rams fans, even after they left St. Louis. That is the most heated you will ever see my family. We could talk about abortion, anything else, but whenever you bring up the Rams, it's go time.
99 world champs.
Hey, Bruce has some good advice for you. Instead of asking what's your next pickup line, using what is your arm weigh, you should ask what her brain weighs. All right, we'll have more fun and frivolity as we head forth on this Thanksgiving week. Hope you'll join us tomorrow on Wake Up Missouri. Have a good one.
Bye.